I was drowning, not in water, but in debt, bad habits, and a feeling of being completely stuck. My bank account was a joke, my daily routine was a mess, and I felt like I was just drifting through life with no real purpose. Sound familiar? That was me, just a few months ago. Then, one night, scrolling endlessly through my phone, I stumbled upon this idea of a 90-day challenge. It wasn't about getting a six-pack or learning a new language. It was about one thing: discipline. So I decided to create my own. I called it the 90-Day Discipline Gauntlet. The rules were simple, but they were brutal. Rule 1. Absolutely no eating out. No coffees, no lunches, no just this once dinners. I had to cook every single meal myself. Rule 2. No luxury spending. That meant no new gadgets, no new clothes, no random Amazon purchases that give you a 5-second dopamine hit and a month of buyer's remorse. If it wasn't an absolute necessity, it was a hard no. It's Rule 3. Read for at least 30 minutes every single day. Not fiction, but books on finance, self-improvement, and business. Rule 4. Invest a set amount of money every single week, no matter what. It didn't have to be a huge amount, but it had to be consistent. And that was it. 90 days. I honestly didn't think I'd last a week. The first week was pure hell. My body craved that morning latte. My friends were going out for wings, and I was at home eating rice and beans, feeling like the most boring person on the planet. I'd scroll through my social media feeds and see everyone else living their best lives, buying cool new things, and there I was, in my old t-shirt, reading a book about index funds. The temptation to just quit, to order a pizza and call it a day, was immense. I nearly caved about a dozen times. Every fiber of my being was screaming, "This is pointless. You're missing out." But I stuck with it. I told myself just one more day. Just get through today.
Yes.
I started meal prepping on Sundays, turning it into a kind of ritual. I packed my lunches for work, and honestly, the food I was making tasted better than the overpriced sandwiches I used to buy. I started to notice how much money I was saving. That daily $5 coffee, that's $150 a month, right there. It's those few lunches out a week. Another couple hundred. It was shocking to see it in black and white. By week 3, something started to shift. The cravings were still there, but they were quieter. They were more like a background hum than a roaring monster. I was getting into the rhythm of cooking. My kitchen, which used to be a place I just passed through, became my command center. I learned new recipes. I got better at managing my groceries, and I felt a sense of pride in making my own food. The reading was a game changer. 30 minutes a day doesn't sound like much, but over a few weeks, you can get through a whole book, then another, and another. My mind, which was used to the constant distraction of social media and TV, started to focus. I was learning about compound interest, about building systems, about the psychology of success. These weren't just abstract ideas anymore. I was living the principles. The discipline I was applying to my finances started to leak into other areas of my life. I was waking up earlier. I was more organized. The weekly investing was probably the most powerful part. Every Friday, I'd transfer that money into my investment account. It felt like I was paying myself first for a change. I was building my future, brick by brick. Watching that account grow, even by small amounts, was incredibly motivating. It was tangible proof that my sacrifice was leading to something real. It was a signal to my brain that I was in control. Around the 45-day mark, halfway through, I hit a major milestone. I looked at my bank account, and for the first time in years, I had a real emergency fund. Not a huge one, but enough to cover a surprise car repair or a medical bill without going into a full-blown panic. The feeling of relief was indescribable. It was like a massive weight I didn't even realize I was carrying had been lifted off my shoulders. Financial anxiety had been my constant companion, and suddenly, it was gone. This is where I realized the challenge wasn't just about money. It was about mindset. Before I had a scarcity mindset. I felt like I never had enough, so I'd spend impulsively to get a quick hit of feeling good. Now, I was operating from a mindset of abundance and control. I was choosing where my money went. I was choosing to invest in my future self. The discipline wasn't a punishment. It was a form of self-respect. My friends started to notice the change. At first, they teased me about being a hermit, but then they saw the results. They saw that I was less stressed, more focused. A couple of them even started asking me for financial advice, which was hilarious. I was the guy who used to live paycheck to paycheck, and now I was explaining the power of a Roth IRA. Life is funny, isn't it? The final 30 days flew by. Habits were ingrained. Cooking my own meals felt normal. Not buying stuff I didn't need was easy. Reading was something I looked forward to. Investing was automatic. I was no longer fighting myself. I had built a new system, a new identity. I was no longer the guy who was bad with money. I was the guy who was disciplined, who was in control of his financial destiny. On day 91, I woke up and the challenge was over. I could go out and buy a coffee. I could order a pizza. I could buy that new gadget I'd been eyeing. And you know what I did? Made my own coffee, cooked my own breakfast, and sat down to read. The challenge was over, but the transformation was permanent. I did go out for a celebratory dinner with friends that weekend, but it felt different. It wasn't an escape or an impulse. It was a conscious choice, paid for with money I had intentionally set aside. The food tasted better because I knew I had earned it, not just with my work, but with my discipline. Looking back, the numbers are impressive. I saved and invested thousands of dollars in just 3 months. But the real change, the priceless change, was in my head and in my habits. I learned that discipline is freedom. It's the freedom from debt, from anxiety, and from the impulsive, reactive version of yourself. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're drowning, maybe what you need is your own 90-day challenge. It doesn't have to be my rules. Make your own. But make them tough. Make them challenge you. The first week will be hard.
Ow!
You will want to quit. But if you push through, I promise you, the person you are on day 91 will be someone you are incredibly proud to be. It's not just about changing your finances. It's about changing your life. Thanks so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on building a better, more disciplined life. Let me know in the comments if you're thinking about taking on your own challenge. I'd love to hear about it. See you in the next one.